Are you looking for the best smartwatches? In this video we will look at some of 6 best smartwatches on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Apple Watch Series 9 GPS 41mm. I've been using an Apple Watch since 2015 and it's still my favorite option. The Series 9 is the latest version and came out in September. I've been using it for several months and the experience is nearly identical to last year's Series 8, which I loved, but it has some minor improvements that'll help it stand the test of time a bit longer. It has double the brightness of its predecessor, 2000 nits, new gesture-based controls that don't require you to touch the screen, and Siri commands are now processed right on the device rather than sent to the cloud. The Series 9 is truly a case of the best for most, whether you're a fitness enthusiast, sleep data nerd, or just someone who likes to check your notifications without pulling out your phone. For example, running coach Watson recommends the Apple Watch for anyone looking to casually track their data. It tracks just about every type of workout you can imagine, he says, including running, cycling, and strength training. Then you've got all the passive monitoring of all the activity and heart rate data, which is compelling to sit and browse on your iPhone. On the health front, the Series 9 can monitor your blood oxygen levels, though it's not a diagnostic tool, your heart rate, and any irregular rhythms and ovulation cycle. The display, which comes in 41mm and 45mm sizes, features an always-on screen that's bright enough to see even in full sunlight, and provides information at a glance without having to raise your wrist. Apple says it can last up to 18 hours on a single charge and can go as long as 36 hours when kept in low-power mode, though that disables the always-on display, heart rate and blood pressure monitoring, and automatic workout tracking. I usually charge mine once a day to be safe, but you can get about a day and a half out of it if you need to. If you're using an iPhone, you'll get the best smartwatch experience with an Apple Watch. It integrates better with iOS than a third-party watch, it's packed with fitness tracking features, and it gets the basics like notification management right. Number 2. Amazfit GTR4. If you're looking for a cheaper smartwatch, Amazfit's GTR4 packs nearly all the fundamentals of a good smartwatch into a more affordable package. You'll miss the strong software integration that the Apple Watch and Samsung and Pixel watches all offer, but you can still access robust fitness tracking and basic notifications. The trade-off is that you can check your notifications but not interact with them. The GTR4 features all the sensors you'd need to track your workouts, plus a continuous heart monitor that can also check blood oxygen levels, though it lacks more advanced features such as ECG. Like the Series 8, it features an always-on OLED display that's crisp and bright. As for battery life, Song's testing showed the watch can last up to 10 days, which is longer than nearly any other smartwatch you can get, including all the other watches on this list, without requiring a charge, and it supports basic notification mirroring. Any pings on your phone will show up on your watch, but it doesn't support quick replies on iOS. Number 3. Apple Watch SE 40mm. If you're new to the smartwatch game or an intermediate athlete who doesn't need every metric possible, you should consider the more affordable Apple Watch SE. It starts out at a little over $100 cheaper than the Series 8, comes in slightly smaller 44mm and 40mm sizes, lacks ECG and blood oxygen monitoring, and doesn't have an always-on display. That said, it still covers all the bases of a good smartwatch. It can track your workouts, monitor your heart rate for peaks and lows as well as irregular rhythms, and track sleep and ovulation cycles, though the Series 8 adds the ability to give retrospective ovulation estimates, plus fall and crash detection. Number 4. Apple Watch Ultra 2. When the Apple Watch Ultra debuted in 2022, I assured myself I wouldn't need the extra features and that I'd be perfectly content with my Series 8. Then, in 2023, after a week of testing the Apple Watch Ultra 2, I immediately started rearranging my budget. Its bigger screen, longer battery life, more durable design, and additional action button for quickly triggering workouts have left me reconsidering which model I'll be upgrading to. I think it outpaces the Series 9. However, I don't think the price point merits a best-in-class designation. The Ultra 2's 49mm display may seem alarmingly large, but even with my fairly small wrists, the display never feels cumbersome or overly flashy. The extra screen space allows for a more information-dense watch face that can display more complications, widgets, on a single screen to show you the weather conditions, your daily tasks, calendar events, or sleep and fitness tracking. Even if you're not heavy on fitness, you may appreciate the extra room if you hate squinting down at your wrist. The Ultra 2 has an additional button on the left side of the display known as the Action button. You can program it to quickly trigger a workout timer, the watch's flashlight mode, or run a custom shortcut automation. Unlike the standard Apple Watch, the Ultra 2 is a bit trickier to fit to your wrist. If it's not set right, the position will depend on your wrist. It can dig into your skin a bit, which causes a good deal of discomfort. That's not an issue once you figure out your sweet spot, but it's not as straightforward as other smartwatches. The Series 9 is still an excellent option for most smartwatch users, but the Ultra 2's additional tweaks make it worthwhile for anyone who truly swears by getting things done on their wrist. Number 5. Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. If you're on Android, especially a Samsung device, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 Classic is the best smartwatch you can get. It works with any Android device that supports Wear OS 4, making it more compatible with other devices than an Apple Watch, though it's still tied to Android. It's 43mm. Casing didn't look too big or small on my wrist and made glancing at notifications from a distance squint-free. Most smartwatches have limited input options, usually touch or scrolling via the watch's crown. The Classic adds a fancy, tactile touch via its rotating bezel, which lets you scroll through menus by spinning the dial. It's not just an added function either, it's just plain fun to use. On the fitness front, the Watch 6 Classic has everything you need, including workout tracking for runs, swims, and bike rides, sleep tracking, and heart rate monitoring. You can use the watch without using Samsung's Health app, but not all features are accessible outside Samsung's first-party apps, which you'll have to use for things such as ECG monitoring. Overall, you'll have to use two apps to totally manage the watch, Galaxy Wearable and Samsung Health. If you're already in the Samsung ecosystem, that won't be too much of a hassle, but you'll have to deal with a bit more friction if you're on a Pixel or other Android device. As with any smartwatch, battery life will vary depending on your usage. The more fitness tracking you do, the more you'll drain your battery. Things like the always-on display and push notifications will affect battery life too. In general, though, even on days when I used the Watch 6 Classic to track my long bike rides, I managed to get at least a day out of a single charge with some juice to spare. Samsung also offers the standard Watch 6, which lacks the rotating bezel. That watch is perfectly capable, but the added input is worth the extra price, especially if you often find yourself in cold weather trying to tap your wrist to little avail. Number 6. Google Pixel Watch 2. The Pixel Watch 2 is the most robust option for Android users without a Samsung phone. It doesn't require as many apps as Samsung's watch for full management and tracking, and it doesn't lock any features to Google's Pixel phones, so you'll get the same experience no matter which smartphone you're using. Like the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic and Apple Watch Series 9, Google's flagship smartwatch packs an always-on display, robust fitness tracking, and good notification management into a sleek design. Google's smartwatch is the only flagship watch to come in just one size, which can be limiting if you prefer a larger display to put less strain on your eyes. But in my experience, the screen is big enough to peek at even when your wrist is lowered. On the health front, it can monitor your heart rate for irregular rhythms with FDA-approved ECG alerts, has sleep and workout tracking, comes with 6 free months of Fitbit Premium, and has Fitbit integrations like more accurate heart rate monitoring, AFib detection, stress monitoring, and sleep tracking. It'll also track your heart rate in zones, depending on the intensity of your workout, and give you guidance on pacing to prevent you from pushing yourself too far. Google has also added automatic workout tracking, much like the Apple Watches, so you can quickly toggle the watch into workout mode once you've already started. Unlike last year's model, the Pixel Watch 2's battery life can easily get you through a full day on a single charge, though it's still a good idea to top it off before bed if you like to track your Z's. The added fast charge feature is great for getting that extra bit of juice without requiring a full charge.